with me is Dr. Dan Horvat, who's also a family doctor. Dan, what part of British Columbia are you working in these days?
These days, I'm working in just outside of Victoria. So years ago, I was involved with meeting with people who are internationally well known as leaders in health systems improvement. I invited some of those leaders to a meeting in Vancouver back in 2009. We spent a couple of days just talking about what is it that makes a highly effective healthcare system. And we came up with 6 key activities. And one of those activities is leadership. And what I recognized was that the type of leadership that the Atleos was teaching was consistent with what my understanding of what worked in the really effective healthcare organizations. And so it really just stimulated me to think about, wow, this is fantastic. Not only am I learning from the Atleos some really helpful leadership knowledge and learning about Indigenous history and perspective and how I can develop as an individual to be a compassionate and understanding practitioner in person, but also it's helping me to understand here's an approach to leadership that others are embracing that to me is very consistent with best practice in how you work with others to create an effective healthcare system. So it caused me to be really excited about it. I really enjoyed the opportunity to get to know my cohort, to get to learn from the Atleos, to get to know the Atleos. I can very much relate to how this can contribute not only to our ability to be more culturally safe and respectful in the work that we do, but also that it can help us have the tools to understand how to lead in other important work that we are often involved with.
Wow, so it sounds like this leadership training is pretty unique. It talks about things like cultural safety. It talks about how to remain or to be more compassionate as we lead.
It gives one knowledge and skills that one could use in other settings as well. Understanding and working with people who have gone through significant traumas, not only as individuals but collectively, but also that other passion of mine, which is how do we improve the way healthcare works. So to me, it works at multiple levels.
So it sounds like it really could be for some of us a transformative personal experience around how we show up, how we have our leadership presence, and maybe there's trauma informed elements to how we can be when we're in leadership positions in our personal or professional lives. Does that
Yeah.
does that
Yeah, I
uh,
would say it helps us to understand kind of to be more understanding of who we're working with, whether we're doing that as a physician with a patient, or whether we're doing that in a leadership role with others that might come from different perspectives and backgrounds. It gives you tools that you can use in multiple different ways.
if a physician in British Columbia who's a member of Doctors of BC wants to participate in this, how much time would they expect to invest? Is their time funded by the JCCs?
There's a 1 hour one-to-one with each individual that signs up for a cohort. And the cohorts are 10 to 12 people. They're not large. It's meant to be a personal experience where people can learn and share. So there's the 1 hour commitment. And then I believe there's a 2 day commitment to go in person, usually in Squamish, with your cohort. So you can spend a couple of days with the Atleos and with your cohort learning and sharing. You're supported for your time through the joint clinical committees and your expenses to travel and accommodation, that sort of thing are covered by the joint clinical committees.
Oh, that's amazing. So our time is funded and travel, and then we would be able to stay for 2 days in Squamish. And I think those 2 days ought to be either contiguous. That's probably the best
Yes.
way to do it. Yeah.
That's what I
Okay.
understand is that it's evolved to a 2 day contiguous. So the time commitment, I mean, it's substantial, but it's a very positive learning experience in a nice environment. And and I think there's real value to it. I think that one walks away with some knowledge and understanding and relationships that can help if one is committed to cultural sensitivity and safety as well as trying to make a positive difference within our healthcare environment. I think it's a tremendous opportunity. I think that the joint clinical committees have supported that is a very, very positive thing.